I was talking to somebody at work today about personal finance, and they learned that I was into crypto. So they asked me, is it worth getting into it at this point? I feel like I'm too late. And I explained to her why she's actually early, way early in the grand scheme of things. And what I told her is what I'm about to tell you in this video. So we're going to start with looking at a couple charts. Actually, we're going to start with a story. Um, so it was back in 2018. I was married at the time, and Bitcoin had a massive dip. If you look here, back in 2018, there was a massive dip in price, and it went down to like $3,000. This was when it was around Christmas time, so we were visiting my family, and I distinctly remember having a conversation with her where I'm like, hey, we've got an extra like $5,000 in the bank right now. Let's just buy a Bitcoin. It's at a super low price right now. It's probably a really good investment idea. And she's like, no, this, that, and the other thing, we shouldn't do it. Well, she talked me out of it. And obviously today, that turned into what is now a $117,000 mistake. So, but you might be thinking, okay, yeah, well, back then it was $3,000, but today at 120,000, how am I supposed to get a Bitcoin when it's $120,000? Well, it doesn't really matter. As long as you are buying Bitcoin, you're set. Okay, let me put this in perspective for you. Okay, we're looking back here at 2013 or what? Yeah, 2013. So Bitcoin began in like 2009 or something, and it was worth like absolutely nothing, $1, $13. Okay, but then it spiked up to $1,100 here, right? And that was one thing. But if you zoom out to 2017, there was another massive bull run after Bitcoin got its first really big break. And Bitcoin jumped up to $20,000 here, swamping, the the gains that you saw 4 years earlier in 2013. Well, 4 years after this, well, look at that. It happened again. And that time it spiked up to 70,000. And a lot of people are like, oh my God, at this point, it's too late. It's not worth getting back into. Well, people were saying that back here, and they are also saying it now. Look, I mean, the difference here is massive, and this trend is not going to stop. All right, let me show you this. And we're just going to turn it white so it's easier to see. Never mind, I like that gradient. That was kind of nice. Okay, so screw it. No, this looks like crap. Okay. So this trend is going to keep happening. And if you keep saying, "Oh, it's too late," I don't think it's worth getting into crypto at this point because it's so expensive. Hold on. Before I show you the next thing I'm about to show you, let's look at this chart here. Okay, so this chart here is a logarithmic chart of Bitcoin. If you want to know what logarithmic means, you can Google it. So it projects the price out of Bitcoin, and these different sections here kind of show if the price is expensive or cheap. Like, for example, blue, very cheap; yellow, fair market value for Bitcoin; red, super expensive, and you definitely want to be selling it if it's red. Okay, so right now we're here in the yellow, and if this pattern holds up, which there's nothing indicating that it wouldn't, and you move your cursor here along the way, you realize that in just a few short years, Bitcoin at its peak could be reaching up to $1 million. Now, every 4 years, there's a big bull run and a blow off top in price. And the next bull run looks like it's going to be happening in about 2029. Which is 4 years from this current bull run that we're experiencing. And as you can see, $1 million is definitely a possibility. So $100,000 versus $1 million in just 4 years, I mean, that's a pretty serious price difference, and you don't even need to own a whole Bitcoin to make some serious cash off of that. However, slide your mouse cursor a little further down 10 years from now, and $1 million is cheap. A cheap price for Bitcoin, right? And we're looking at something up to $4 million a coin at that point in just 10 years from now. If you're able to accumulate one Bitcoin over the next few years, you're going to be able to turn that into potentially $4 million. That's crazy, okay? So let me really put this into perspective for you. Hold on. I don't pay for this crap, so I got to refresh the page every once in a while. Okay. So this is the entire history of Bitcoin so far. Well, project out 10 years and a cheap price for Bitcoin is going to be $1 million. Okay. So this spike here looks really big right now. But if you change the scale here, if you tweak it a bit, look, 200,000, it's looking pretty small. And by the way, 200,000 is very possible in this bull run this year. Okay. But let's keep going just for fun to see what things are going to be looking like. Look, Bitcoin reaches $500,000 up here. That makes our current run up look like, pennies, man. And then increase this thing up to $1 million, which in 10 short years is very, very likely. I mean, it's basically a flat line at this point. So any price that you buy into right now is cheap. Even though Bitcoin is having a bull run right now and the price is going up and up, you're still getting in way early, okay? So stop with the excuses. Stop saying, oh, it's too early, or, oh, I don't have enough money to buy Bitcoin. Buy any amount of Bitcoin that you can afford and hold that stuff for 10 years or more, and you're going to be chilling, okay? So don't be stupid. Put your money into Bitcoin and stop being poor. It's simple as that. And that's the video.